Hi, this is Lisa Jammal. I am a co-founder of Moms.Talk.Shop, and I have here my amazing mother, who we all know as the amazing Lala.
Hello.
Lala is my mom is, I think we all just, we love our moms, but my mom to me is just somebody who, if you've met her, and she's pretty, I'd like to say quite famous for just being the most amazing and most energetic, positive, just all inspiring person. It's like if you meet her, you're going to walk out. You might not even know her. She will literally make you inspired, feel great, like ready to conquer all. And it's a pretty wonderful thing. Mom.
I have to say thank you to Lisa. I think, she just loves me very much. I know all of you adore your mothers too. And they are all special. All mothers are special. And now that I see my daughter as a mother, I'm blown away by what she has done. So
she should be blown away.
Yeah.
She should be.
Twins. And I'm in awe of her. So,
well, thank you, Mommy. So one of the things that my mom and me are wanting to really touch on here I think what's important is, I was born in 1981. I am first generation.
I was 57. Okay, I'm 57. Okay, guys. And when I scroll down, when I have to fill something out, it's scrolling and scrolling. And I'm going, holy smokes, am I that old?
Well,
sorry, I got off subject there, but it just made me think about that right now.
Well, yeah. So my mother was born, obviously, in 1957. And you're 57?
Hello.
What?
I'm 64, everyone.
Oh, you're fit. Oh my God. Oh God. That's it. We're done. This is no. So, wait, what do you mean scrolling though?
When I'm scrolling, like I'm filling something out and it tells, put down your date, your birth date, and you're on the computer and you got to scroll all the way down.
Oh yeah. You have to like do the thing.
And I'm going like this.
Yeah.
Oh, my fingers getting
You know what? I'm the same way. I thought of that too. I was like, what is she talking about?
57.
No, it's true. Why do they make that so hard? It's like, who's born in 2021? Can you make it easy for us or not?
Oh,
wow.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. Okay. Wow.
Now let's get beyond
that. Was great. So, okay. So going back to this, I was thinking, look, I grew up in a generation where, I grew up in the 80s and really, I guess, started to experience things more consciously in the 90s, right? And, my mother I grew up with a household where, my parents were very involved. I love that. I was very blessed. And, we were spoiled in the sense of we had our parents at every basketball game, right? Everything they were involved in. We were spoiled in the way that, we had structure at home. We had a routine at home, right? Which is so key. And I think as being a parent, we all know how important it is to have a routine, right? And even having something like that is so wonderful, especially when your mother is there, right? My mother very much was, the at-home mom. She loved it. And,
best time of my life.
Yes, because I was so easy.
Oh, yeah, right. I think that right now there are so many labels and sometimes they're even difficult for me to try to understand.
Yeah, there is. There's, I feel like everything right now is so extreme to like, you're this or right. You're that. And it's like, we understand, we got it, but like, it's really extreme. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're super labeled right now where, everyone's always been labeled to a certain degree, right? Like,
right. And I guess what is getting this conversation going is about traditions and ideas that we hold on to.
I want this conversation because I think we all feel this. There's not one person who you're all going through this. You feel something when something starts to become overwhelming, or we hear the news again about, something that is so trivial right now that is important, but what are the foundations to,
I think one of the biggest things right now is we need to let go of being so caught up in wanting to be this particular label, or accepting me in this particular label, or what about trying to understand our generation, or even me trying to understand my parents' generation, and being patient in trying to explain, the things that are happening in the world.
Sure.
Okay. So,
and I agree with that, because, and I don't mean to cut you off. I think what I always find, and it's because I bring this up, is because, my mother and I have had a lot of conversations where I have to be extremely patient, because there are a lot of things that are going on in the world that we're not part of that generation. We have so many new things going on that have evolved, have changed. From, we've got the
maybe not just aspect,
the religion, everything.
Yeah. And even though we were in brought up in a very conservative household, we would have, the doorbell would ring with, certain missionaries or from different churches. And my dad would always say, you never close the door on those people. You never shut the door and be rude. You always say thank you for making the effort to stop by, and we wish you well. But we're happy where we are. And that really always left such a very strong impression on my life. And I've tried to do that. Sometimes it is difficult and challenging, but having had that said to me, and he only had to say it once to me, to understand how important it was to keep your mind and your heart open.
But that's what you've given to me. And, again, going back, I think what's helped us navigate conversations now as we go through, these new things of how things have evolved, I realize that, and I've always been this way, I think, because you've given this, but I have to be extremely patient with my mom. And,
hello.
And, I do get it. She loves everybody. Literally. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. She loves freaking everybody. Okay.
But we're Latin. And so we're very opinionated. And we're loud, okay.
But we're yes, but they're also, and it's not meant to come off. So there's also that. God, there's just so many things. But I think it's just really understanding the generations. And like my mom said, her generation needs to also be patient with these new, ways of all of us growing up. I mean, it's already so extreme from what we've been given. I mean, I remember I was in school and computers were now we're with freaking laptops trust me, I'm a tech geek, but look at just within that short span. I mean, I can't even imagine my kids are 4, what they're going to have just based on the period of when I was what was I 6 or 7? And we got computers at our school. That's insane. I'm going to be 40, So the things are moving quickly. There's a lot of things happening. And I think what's always so interesting is what I wanted to have my mom is that as these things continue happening, what is going to guide us and hold us in a foundational base where we still want these traditions? I go back and I think these traditions.
You just said the word. We had not brought it up. What we want to talk about are traditions. Customs.
Yes.
Customs.
Manners.
Customs are beliefs that have been brought down. And so they eventually become traditions, if you want. I really believe that no matter, not just the holiday season, you need to have traditions. They're so important. They warm your
They're
heart.
magical.
They warm your heart. And anyone who comes in feels that embrace. And that's what traditions are, I think, is just embracing and giving to other people, to strangers, how you were raised. And it is a gift. It's a gift that even if you don't have a lot of traditions, seeing how other people celebrate is just such a wonderful insight to history.
Right.
It's just such history, a wonderful thing.
It is. And I agree. I feel like, when so some of the things that I feel like, as far as what I've realized is, I love bringing the magic into this house for this whole holiday season. Like for every holiday though, I love it. But my mom has given me that, and
we didn't get into, I came here when I was 5 years old, and we were very blessed. My parents sacrificed much, and we went to private schools, and my mom made the magic in our home. And they were simple things, but it was so beautiful. Yeah. It was so wonderful what she did, from food, from her preparation of how she would display a particular dish for that holiday season. And I am so happy to see even, my daughter passing that down, because I know that Finn and Zoe are going to feel this. Yeah. My son is baking cookies with his kids.
Yeah, the simplicity of those things.
The simplicity of those things are going to stay there forever. That magic. And it isn't, like I said, just this holiday season. But even when you come to my home, you get a hug and a kiss.
You betcha. You really do.
And that
maybe
is
a glass of champagne too.
And that is important. That hug is very, Lisa was one who was a go, go, go when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
And one day I said, these are the rules. You can leave home without making your bed. You can leave home without your lunch. You can leave home without combing your hair, but you can never leave home without giving me a hug and a kiss.
Yeah.
And that was the rule, because that touch is so important now, and we're losing it, and I'm very lucky. I can go ahead and spend time with my grandchildren. I want them to know that they are the most important little beings in the world. And if I can leave them that, and that's my legacy, that's what I want to leave my grandchildren.
Right.
And through traditions and these conversations that we have with them, I'm hoping that they will pass that on to their children too.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And that it's really about the little things. I mean, I still go back and I think about how things have evolved now too. And I know that's probably going to be like the Pee Wee Herman word that pops up every time I say, it's like, how many times does Lisa say evolve in this conversation? But like sitting down at the table and having a family dinner.
Yes.
It's so wonderful. But like, we're always on the go. Everybody's go, 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 right? Like even to, making your bed, manners. Like, but I know that those are traditions, but like, even in the households and the way that we do things.
Well, you're confusing. Those are habits. You really need to establish those habits as well.
But like, yes, I think customs and traditions of things are.
Yes.
What I love
the
about
family dinner,
and it's different. Every family has cultures have so many great things. I mean, look at I'm also Middle Eastern, so like, oh my gosh, it's like watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And you see that everybody is just like, and then, we also do amazing things where like, I even just to my other families that are out there that are my village and the opportunities of what brings people together. Religion does too. Like,
yes, very much so.
I think we just all have to, everything is just so over the top. I feel like everyone's so careful. Like we did this, like we can't, I'm just like, you know what? When you think half glass full about anything and everything, you're going to find the positive in it and you're going to show up. You're going to show up and you are going to spread the love.
Yeah.
And, I feel like that is such a great foundation. But still, I still want to go back to these understandings of like.
So in Guatemala, we had the tradition of, and it still is, it's a tradition in Guatemala. We celebrate Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
It isn't Christmas Day. It's Christmas Eve.
It was so fun.
So these kids, so I would have to stay up until midnight to open my gifts. Okay. And there's music playing. We have everybody talking. There's games, that we play. And now with my children, I think Lisa still, there were a few years still where we would stay up till midnight. But as everybody got older, especially my parents, we started saying, okay, let's open one gift at 10 o'clock and then, another one at 11 and then another one at 12.
And now that we're all like, my brother and me, our parents were like, we're in bed by 8. We can start doing Christmas morning, like totally fine. Let's start Christmas Eve at like 4 because we're going to be done and out by like.
So this is her generation now, right? Now, something that I've learned is, okay, I love these new traditions that are going to be started, but I said I'm not going to let go of my Christmas Eve dinner.
Right.
And so we're holding on to that. And then after the dinner, they all, this is on the 24th. Each one goes to their home. They have Santa comes and all that. And then my mother loved her Christmas breakfast.
Yep.
And so we've held on to that tradition as well. And so it's a wonderful breakfast and we all sit around and she would put little gifts for us on the table as well. So sometimes the stockings are ignored because we're so excited about getting to the
stockings
breakfast.
Have great stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, so for me, I've been okay with that.
Yeah.
I've been okay in letting
but tell everybody about the tamales. Like like I go back again, like the generational stuff
and then
of
the
things
food
that
is served
but also getting dressed up.
Yes.
Like these are just things that I feel like we're losing is this, gosh, if you go back and you watch like these films, I mean, they were literally in freaking gowns, tux, like, I mean, what? Where is all that? Like, come on. We as parents, it starts with the parents, right? Like, you really have to keep your kids like, and my mom still does that. I mean, she literally cannot handle how I leave the house sometimes.
The china. And they're
the china.
On my case because the kids are going to break the china. I go, I don't care.
No.
They're sitting and they're going to have a beautiful dish. This was for Thanksgiving. And I set a beautiful table because there are with
and manners.
Setting this beautiful traditional table, you see the children change as well. Their manners, they're a little quieter, they're a little more still. And I noticed that their napkins, the girls, with their napkins on their lap, and I'm going, oh, so impressive, right? So, wow, again, those wonderful things that, yes, they take time and so forth, but at the end of the day, it stays with you and
it gets passed on.
And it gets passed on because it's beautiful.
It's true. And, even to just, again, like you said, I think what's important are these customs and traditions. And even if you didn't or weren't raised in that way, but you're now in a position where you're constantly surrounded by this type of stuff. I mean, for me, I just start it. You can start it, because there's still going to be generations that are going to come after you. Do it for you. Like, you can create the magic every day in your house. It doesn't even have to be a holiday.
Exactly. And that's what's very, very important, is to make every day just this wonderful moment in life. It's life is too short.
I just want to go back to manners, because, I do, like I say, feel like this is something that is always going to be an important thing to be raised in a household. Please and thank you always need to come. But I always tell my kids too, and I think, again, you don't really think about this stuff when you're not a parent, but as you start to see your kid develop and start really looking at the world or start doing things, even how they interact with their social skills growing up, you start to think about, how you want your children to be, especially when they're at another person's house. Exactly. Because you really notice it. When you're like, the first time you're like, oh my God, I'm at someone else's house. Okay, kids, really behave. You start thinking, oh God, I really need to start doing this in my own house, because we're going out to other people's houses. Like, no jumping on the couch. Like, but even, look, this is my choice, okay? But my son, and my daughter, they're twins. My son is he's a confident little young rascal, but I am also, when the times are right, because I don't want it to show some sort of like, I guess, like favoritism, right? Like, if I say, Finn, why don't you, help your sister with this, or eventually, but, hold the door open, because he actually naturally does it. I am not gonna stop that from happening. And do I need, and what I teach my daughters to say thank you to Finn, right? Like, there are things where, like I said, I feel like things are getting a little like out of hand with, you don't need to open the door. It's like, look, I'm a woman who runs my own business. So there's no judgment when it comes down to, my preference and what I choose in life. You bet your butt, if a man is going to open a door for me, I am grateful and thank you. Do I require it from him? Kind of. I do judge him probably if he does or doesn't open the door. And that's me. And I'm just being honest. So just don't, but look, I choose that because I want them to have a foundation of still knowing the difference between right and wrong, or just this sense of like, I feel like we're losing this sense of history and the things that made it so nostalgic, right? Like, so romantic to a certain degree, because it was, when I go back now, I feel like it wasn't so overwhelming. There's so much information now. Now I just feel like things, like, I go back and I look at these, things, and even with my kids, I mean, they don't, even my agents that work for me for my business, I'm like, do you know who this is or this is? And they're like, who's that? I was like talking about Sex in the City the other day, and they're like, what? And I'm like, or like, I just realized that I'm becoming the generation that kind of was at that tipping point, because now this new generation is exposed and growing up in something that they're growing up in, all of these new, very, I think, labeled. There's, I don't know, what is it? Well, can you help me?
I think the most important thing is to be patient.
Yes,
with each person and take them as an individual, and say, I'm sorry if I have offended you, apologize.
Right, because some people might not want the door open for them.
Right. And I think that the person who holds the door open not be so offended, and then the person who doesn't want the door open perhaps be a little open-minded and saying, wow, that was a nice gesture on his part. I mean,
Yes,
instead of
Mom.
being offended.
Yes.
So let's take it a step back. I mean,
my body
it just takes a little bit.
stretch.
And something that, Lisa says
Mom,
that,
thank you. That was exactly my point. I go in
sometimes
circles.
sometimes, she overdoes it with how I am. But I truly believe that don't hold back a compliment. Give that person that compliment, because everyone has a gift and everyone has something to give.
Oh,
and
my
so
gosh.
don't hold back on that,
Mom.
I mean, I've seen ladies out and they'll just be so dressed up, and you can see, and they're older, and you can see that they're just feeling so special. And I go,
You look
don't you
beautiful.
look lovely today?
I know, I do that too, Mom. I even to just like any girl that's out there,
Exactly.
man, God, they probably thought I was hitting on it, but I'm just like, you look so handsome. You really do. Although my hair is probably like this,
Lisa,
I'm like, you look so handsome.
I do have to share. There was a young man, and I just go, aren't you the handsomest young man? And I kept, just chatting with him, and I go, you are just so charming, and you're just so handsome. And later I thought, oh my gosh.
I know, because we do it. We overdo it. We are just the ultimate compliment,
I think he
human
thought
beings
that
here.
maybe I was hitting on him. This is terrible.
I feel like if there was a show and literally we complimented every person. I know.
I went home and I go, oh, I'm locking myself up.
Oh my God, Mom.
I was so embarrassed.
No, but that's what she does. Literally, like anybody here who watches this that knows my mom knows that you have like 5 minutes with her. You walk out of there like,
oh my goodness.
all those things in my future wish list. I'm starting them now, or like I feel like I can conquer the world. My mom. You should exactly.
You should go out there and just do it and
just
live
do
your
it.
life.
But that was exactly what everything you just said about our whole opening the door, metaphor. Is it a metaphor? No, God, Mom, I went to a school that was like so good, and sometimes I don't understand what happened to me. I'm like,
it's so going back to holding on to our traditions and creating even new ones. It's
fun.
It is the most wonderful thing. My daughter-in-law brought in a wonderful tradition for Easter, where she does the little bunny toes. And
she
then
paints the toenail of my knee so it looks like she got kissed by the bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
It's just like cute stuff like that. And I mean, it's
you
cute.
hold on to it, and they just get the children, living
we watch White Christmas.
That is a tradition.
That is a tradition. Like White Christmas, Thanksgiving. Let's share some of our things. Okay, so we do White Christmas.
Yes.
Always. Sometimes we would do it on Thanksgiving.
We do still do it on that.
We do.
I fall asleep because I'm getting older.
We're getting older. But we
bake cookies.
We always bake cookies.
So we normally have like a whole week of different
activities.
Events. That we do.
And you can do this too. Every week, just do a little just one.
So much
It could be
fun.
baking cookies. It could be all the men or boys are, God, I'm labeling God. Okay, freaking, whatever. Just
gifts.
They can make dinner and all the girls can just or it could be a combo, just whoever, know.
We go and see all the lights together, but we try to do it as a family.
Exactly.
And even though our family has gotten so big, my sister goes off with her husband's family, and my nieces go off. We try to get together one day.
Oh, yeah, because we have the tamales.
And the tamales from Guatemala, they're very different than the Mexican tamal. And we all sit down and we have this wonderful dinner together.
Mexican tamales are delicious too.
and we go ahead and we exchange our gifts.
Yeah.
So again, as our family has grown and everyone has gone, in different directions, we still pull together because my mom left us that.
Yeah.
She always wanted our family
Yes.
to be together. And so my sister and I, and my brother lives in Utah, but we still try to do those reunions, those get-togethers, because they are important, and they're important to our children.
Yeah, exactly.
More so. And now this other generation, which is absolutely beautiful.
And 4 years old is a magical age.
It is magical.
I don't know who's enjoying it more. It might be mommy because
Lala is.
Oh, that is true.
Because I'm seeing the two. I'm seeing my grandchildren, and I'm seeing my children, my son and my daughter, doing these wonderful things for the holidays that I go, oh my gosh, my mother is looking down on us and saying, wow, it's continuing.
Yeah.
And they have not stopped.
No.
So the magic continues.
And even like Snoopy. Oh my God, here, come here, Snoopy. Like,
my mom loved Christmas. Yeah.
So like, oh gosh, oh my gosh, wait, no, Mom, let's sing. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas.
I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom.
Okay. But so my abuela loved the whole Peanuts, Charlie Brown, Snoopy. So that's been something that has really, and it makes me think of my abuela too. Yeah. It makes me feel closer, right? So like, every time I see something like Peanuts during Christmas time, especially, like even watching Charlie Brown, that's a family tradition.
Yes, it is.
We absolutely watch all of that.
Well, you have the whole collection, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed. So, those are just really special things. And, but, I really feel like, I am really incredibly blessed because I do feel like I have been a very challenging daughter. I'm just very stubborn, I guess, to a certain degree. But
you have had your own way of looking at things and doing things. But one thing is you never, ever broke my heart.
Well, that's...
Ever.
Thank you, Mommy.
Yeah. Never broke my heart.
And that is everything. I love you.
Love you too.
And I mean, look, I come from very strong foundation of traditions, especially I've said over and over again, which is what I've been trying to come across. Stability is, I think, a big thing in the Latin culture. I'm going to say Latin culture because it is. There's been, and I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just going to say, look, how I was raised. And, I think having a partner, someone, especially when you are starting your career, I've had a great career. Wonderful. I think when you start having somebody else, I think having a partner to run a household, right? And then have children. I did not do that. I have always I decided to do IVF.
And that's another story because when we went to Guatemala, excuse me, and we had to share that Lisa was going to be a single
Immaculate
mom.
Conception is what I said.
No. We said there was a catalog. Yeah, and she's going, well, how does this work? My sister.
¿Cómo es
esto? We said, there's a catalog, and she picks out a man from this catalog.
A donor.
And so they go, oh, okay, muy bien.
And it's...
So now my aunties are 80s and 90s, okay, so...
I think we just, so I feel like, that is one thing that has been always interesting, and that can be a whole other conversation. But I do feel like as I've become, a mother, these things that I really take away with me are this sense of very strong ethical and moral. I guess they're kind of like this. Like if my mom were to put like this, you know, this is kind of like the rule book, right? I feel like it's been there, but they've continued to evolve. And what's great is they have to, right? But there's still a foundation. It's like saying yes or no, knowing the difference between right and wrong.
Well, and you know, something that you know, people who see us in the way that Lisa and I are, we have our discussions, and they can be very strong discussions.
Yeah.
One of the things that I truly appreciate about PJ and Lisa is that I can be honest with them.
Yes.
And they will tease me forever with some of my ideas. And there can be yelling and screaming. But you know what? At the end of the day, there is still respect and love there.
Yes. And it's also, we take away, even though we might think she's wrong or she needs to be more open-minded.
Exactly. Yes.
It still gives us the understanding that
I'm coming from.
Well, where we're coming from, exactly. But it also allows us to know that, look, these are very, very important conversations to be very well aware of, especially if you are raising kids, in my opinion, because it helps give you perspective. That's the best thing. It's your choice how you choose to do what you want to do. But those conversations are always very much something I take away from. I always try to look at the positive stuff, and it always reminds me patience. I think patience and being open-minded have been the most incredible thing, especially as we face a lot of these, you know, new movements, these labels, this, that, and I love it.
There are extremes, and it's getting sometimes even frightening, and it's going to be a challenge for our children, so we need to raise them right.
And we need to still remember there has to be some foundations put into place. I will literally leave it to this because I keep using this everywhere. I'm like, it's freaking genius, right? I'm like, I have come up with the all-time greatest, like, I'm going on to CNN to say this, you know? But like we are all one. Like, we really are. But this is, you can laugh later. It's just like having stoplights. Stoplights, red light, green light, yellow light, we all follow that. We have to follow that, you know? And I think in life, we if we can use that as kind of like this like example of, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. When you're driving and it's a red light, you're stopping. If it's a green light, you're driving. So like if there's these morals or values or ways of looking at things, maybe it's patience or maybe it's being open-minded is, you know, the red light, the green light, you know, maybe when you pause, you take a minute to be open-minded. When it's green light, it's being patient. Like just
I think the yellow light is probably the most important.
And what is
that? It's about reflecting and really thinking about each day, and perhaps you did some wrong and you need to reflect and be patient with yourself.
Okay, maybe there's one last thing that we should totally say though. One other fun tradition that we do is around the table. Like the kids and I will go around, we hold hands, we look at the person next to us and we say one thing that we love about them, or we can switch it up, you know? And I told this to a really good friend of mine, Matt Dallas. And he still to this day tells me that he does this, which I always thought was pretty incredible. And I always said that right before you go to bed, think of like, it could be the 5 things or the best 10 things that happened in your day.
Yeah.
And you might have had the crappiest day, might have had the shittiest day, whatever. But if you can find the positive at the end of the day, holy crap. But you know what?
And that's a wonderful tradition.
That is a great tradition to start. Gosh. And you know who taught me that is my mom, because My mom should just write a book about how to start traditions if you don't have them. Mom, get on it. It'll be with like New York Times bestseller book.
Oh my goodness.
Lala's words of wisdom.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
just
my
be
God.
thankful and truly that the reflecting every day is just.
I don't have time to reflect. You just have to know you're awesome. Okay. Yeah. So like, even as I'm just like, I will put that in my day to day. So like it as like I'm reflecting right now.
You know what, you guys, Lisa gave me the Apple Watch.
Oh yeah.
And it has the breathe, you know.
She almost literally like killed herself because
when they first got it for me, it would say, time to stand. So I would stand and I would be marching and doing
like,
but what I really,
we had to fix the settings because it kept telling her to breathe or stand or you haven't hit your goal yet.
Yeah, so I would go out and power walk.
She got sick. She kept,
I put my back out. Anyway, no, but the one that I really love is breathe.
Yeah, the breathe is incredible. Great job, Apple.
Yeah.
That is a great one.
Stop and you breathe. And now I have my grandchildren also who, let's do the circle, Lala. I go, okay, yeah, it's time. Let's do our circle. Yeah. And they're breathing with me.
The breathing is great.
It's really wonderful. Yeah.
God, I need to breathe. When it tells me to, I know I'm like, it's like, it's usually when I'm like in a high intense conversation, I'm like,
breathe.
Well,
just have a wonderful holiday season. And one thing I do want to say is don't stress yourself out.
Yeah.
If one thing that maybe you do have a lot of traditions and you want to put those, put those out there for your kids. If you don't have the time to do it, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, just sing a song. If you're driving, like if you're
them, and
read
treat
a book
yourself,
to them. Just something.
Treat yourself well.
Yeah.
So don't put that pressure on you either.
And literally,
because the magic is there.
Hit up Lala and Lisa. The magic is there. You remember, you are the magic.
That's right.
Just order some matching pajamas. You know what? And then
tonight we're having popcorn. For dinner.
It's popcorn. We're gonna throw on a movie. Just. Hit us up. We have ideas all the time, especially Lala. Actually, Lala, as everyone says, everyone wants Lala to be their adopted Lala. So you are all now adopted by Lala, and she's here for you.
Yeah.
I will be your bookkeeper, Mom.
And I'm up at 4 a.m. if anyone wants to.
Yeah, it's like the older you get, like you wake up earlier. I'm like, oh my God. It's getting real. I'm going to be up at 4, out by like 6, right?
My goodness. We love chatting with you and
thank you for tuning into this. It's Lisa and Lala from Moms.Talk.Shop. We really hope that, you were able to, shop around with our ideas here.
We love you guys.
Okay.
And
happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
And Happy Hanukkah.